Hi YouTube, it is Encrypted Angels, and look at who I have. I have our fiance. Da, 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 da.
That's me.
So this is my fiance, Paul, and we are here today to ask Paul some questions, what it's like to be dating and married. Your questions. What it's like to be married to a person with D.I.D. So we've been together for 10 years now, and even though we're not legally married, I guess, but common law marriage, right, people? So
we say so therefore it is.
Yeah, there we go. We say to each other all the time, we're married in our hearts.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I've got lots of questions here from people that I have gathered. I'm using my nifty journal again. I think you guys have seen that before. It says internal psychodrama. Yep, okay. So I'm using my nifty journal. And so he has, by the way, he has no idea of any of the questions that are about to be asked. He did not want to know any of them ahead of time because he didn't want to have like premeditative answers, to them. So he wanted to just answer them raw, fresh, on camera. So
you guys get the reactions.
That's right. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get started here. Okay. So questions for Paul. The first question we have is from Tammy. Hi, Tammy.
Hey,
How are
Tammy.
you?
Thank you.
And for Paul, what's it like for you when the children are forward? How does that change things in your relationship? So I think she means like the littles. Like if, and back when I was younger, well, you didn't really know me when I was younger. Yeah, like if Mia and then Sarah, so like if Mia and Sarah are out, the littles in the system. So.
It's not very much different. You just change the kind of the dichotomy of how you act. Like, I mean, you wouldn't treat a woman as you would treat a little girl. So, it's like the things we do, the things I talk about, the language I use, a little bit different, a little bit more kid friendly. Stay away from horror movies. And they're a lot of fun. They have a tendency to be very playful, so when I'm in a playful mood, it's fun. And then sometimes when I'm in a bad mood and stuff, they kind of help cheer you up. It's kind of a nice thing to have.
Mia's sort of infectious like that. Like,
yeah.
You hang out with Mia for like 5 minutes and you have a smile on your face.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. Thank you, Tammy, for the question.
And the next question is from Azira. Hello, Azira.
Hey, Azira.
And Azira says, I'm sorry, the second part of Tammy's question, we didn't really do that. How does that change things in your relationship for the second part of Tammy's question before we go to Azira?
It doesn't change. I mean, I love each one individually in their own way, so it's kind of like having a big family. It's like when the littles are out, it's more like playtime and like kind of like hanging out with your kids, as opposed to like, when the adults are out, it's more serious talk. We have to take care of business or, finances or kids and stuff like that, excuse me. So it's a little bit different. Doesn't change the relationship. It just changes kind of how you act.
Gotcha. So next question from Azira. How did you react when you first were told that your partner has D.I.D? Okay, I love his reaction.
Is that it?
That was his reaction.
I thought she was going to tell me she was married, like, or something, like it's gay. Like, I didn't know that we were just sitting there and she said, I have something very serious to talk to you about. And in my head it was, oh my God, she's married, or, she's got a husband in prison. I didn't know what, and when she told me, I was kind of like, oh, is that all? Or, I thought it was something serious. Like, to her, it was very serious.
Yeah.
And because it's like a coming out for her, and to me, I was just like, first I've ever really experienced it firsthand. I've heard of this D.I.D, but I never really thought I'd ever be talking to somebody with one, let alone marrying one. But it didn't affect me at all. It was, I mean, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, something to deal with. It's like somebody telling you, hey, I like to eat cake every Sunday, and you're like, okay, I have to deal with that. I know a bad example. But
Have to eat cake.
sorry.
This is why I love him, you guys. He compares to me telling him that, that he has to deal with my D.I.D, as eating cake every day. I mean, how much better can you get than that? Like,
Yeah. So it's enjoyable.
Another question Ajira had is, what kind of relationship do you have with each of her alters?
Oh, okay. Well, to go through the list of each one would take a little while, so I will sum it up for you like this. The boys are like my best friends. We hang out, we talk. I don't initiate a lot of physical contact like you would. Like, imagine if you were with your best friend. You don't sit there and hug your best friend unless some best friends do, but for the most part, it's more like a buddy with the guys. With the older girls and ladies, it's more of a lovey-dovey kind of, I'll hold you, let's watch movies together and stuff like that. The protectors, it's more kind of like I'm on their side like a fifth protector. Like I'm like, okay, what can we do to solve the problem? The kids, kind of going back to the original first question by Tammy, is basically like playtime. You get to hang out with them, you do the more childish kind of things. She likes to play with the makeup and stuff like that, and do her hair up and be all girly and fun, and then I sit there, oh, you look so pretty.
Alright, and I think you might get this question a couple of times, so this one might be repeated a few times, but Ajira was the first one to ask.
Okay.
Have you ever had any problems with any of her alters?
No. We've had disagreements. I always, whenever I have an argument or something, it's never anything that can't be solved, ever. You just sometimes, problems I do have, nothing really major, more like, like if I'm in a lovey-dovey kind of mood and a guy's out, that would be kind of like a little problem, but nothing like serious. I've never had any conflict with any of them. They've all been very lovey and respectful, to the situation that she's in, and with the way her inner workings work, they all communicate very well, so none of them were really surprised when I showed up or anything, so.
Yeah.
Is that all for him?
From her, Ajira, yeah.
Thank you for your questions.
And then the next question, okay, so see, here you guys go. It just says from a coworker. I don't work, and I don't remember writing this question down. I don't know if it was one of your coworkers, maybe. I don't know how one of your coworkers would have asked me a question. I don't really know. But if you guys look at this is even different handwriting. So like up here is like more my handwriting, and then the coworker one is here. So I'll zoom that in. You may not be able to see it very well, but there is a slight difference. Like mine's more messy, and I just don't even care about formulating the correct letters exactly, and this person is a little bit more neat. So I don't even know. I don't know so a coworker, whoever you are, thank you. And the question is, what's it like to come home to a different person or wake up to a different person?
Well, that's a very good question. Coworker, good job. It is a little jarring. It's not as bad when you wake up in the morning, because you're really, like, everybody wakes up in the morning, you're tired and you're kind of getting your bearings. It's kind of the same thing with her, and it's like you get kind of used to the different people being out. At first it was a little weird, because it's like, like if I wake up and want to hug her and kiss her and there's a guy out, it's like, get off me. It's like,
depends on the guy.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. Now coming home from work, that's a little bit of a different twist, because it's you never know who you're coming home to. It's like, imagine your house and you have like 5 different people in your family. You never know which one's going to be there to greet you. But it's not jarring, because he is always willing to, happy to have me home, and so I kind of come home and do the same thing, just kind of as I realize who it is.
Yeah.
It's not really a big deal at all. It does, like, sometimes, like, hey, if I'm having a bad day and I want comfort and a guy's out, they'll do their best, or, she can always switch, it's not like on command, but
Right.
when needed, you usually bring out the right personality. So.
Yeah. The right person will rise to the occasion and come forward.
Kind of like a surprise. It does. In a weird way, it does kind of make life interesting because it's like, who am I gonna come home to? It's like,
mystery.
Yeah, like who's.
This is a way
there?
we keep mystery in our relationship.
Yeah, you gotta keep it exciting one way or another.
Right. All right. So this question, I'm asking for. This is my own question for him. When we started, it was you and Diva. Diva being one of our previous hosts who's now integrated into the system. Just kind of reincarnated as an echo. But anyway, so when we started, it was you and Diva. And since then, there's been a few different hosts. There's been Cadence, Kinsey, and now me, Dax. So what has that been like for you to meet Diva, fall in love with Diva, and then now she's like gone and now it's me? Like, because there's other multiples out there that's just unthinkable. That's just absolutely unthinkable. They're like, oh my God, that would be horrible to them.
That is tough, but also in mind, these people were inside, so I did know them.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like a surprise. It is very different because, like if I fell in love with Diva and then, like Kenzie or Dax is now in charge, and it's like you do kind of have to learn to fall in love with them all over again, but I've already loved 99% of the people in there. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, who do you care who's driving, your mom or your dad? It's like somebody's running the body, but I'm in love with pretty much all of the personalities. The ones that love me back. There are a few that just don't care. But that's going to come with the situation.
A couple of the protectors.
Yeah, and some of the ones that probably I haven't even met yet.
Yeah.
But it's not that big of a deal if you can stay fluid in your thoughts and your emotions. You have to be very, very flexible person to be with somebody like this, because it is like dating a lot of people. So
kind of like being poly with that. I know you're monogamous and
yeah.
I'm poly, but in a way it's kind of forces you to be poly, to have multiple relationships, even though it's.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta kind of because you have a mindset, if you think about it, even in your normal life, you have a mindset of, like if you go talk to your boss, you're going to talk to them different than you do when you talk to a girl in the park or your parents, and that's kind of the thing. You do have a different mindset with them, but the changing and the taking over, it never really bothered me because they've all been very good at taking care of everything they need to take care of. And they're all very sensitive to me too. They keep me informed and let me know. It's never really a surprise,
I have another question from us before we get to more questions from others. So from us, I guess there's two more. What advice would you give people out there in your position dating a multiple?
Oh, stay fluid, do not get angry, and recognize the problem, because I wouldn't call it a problem, but you have to understand that if you're having an argument with one person and in a panic they switch, you are talking to a completely different person. So you can't just be angry at one person and then and then you start yelling and somebody else comes out and they don't have no clue what's going on. So it's unfair to them as per another person. And so you don't take your anger out with one person onto another person. Yeah. You don't do it with her. So you need to be able to have very fluid kind of emotions and be able to control your emotions. You need to stay level-headed. Because you are going to have one hell of a time if you're upset and you like to hold grudges. You need to forgive quickly. And me, I always tell people, I may be mad, 24 hours later I'll be fine. Even
listen,
usually.
Listen,
yeah. I don't mind. It's like, yes,
he's
have
usually
our blow-ups.
mad for an hour or two, and then he's like, I'm fine.
Yeah, we have our blow-ups, and everybody knows that an argument is always 99% about something stupid.
Yeah.
That's always how it goes, and you have to be able to recognize that and calm yourself before you can calm down your significant other.
And to be fair, we try not to do that to you. If we can, say if him and I get into a fight, and then I can feel somebody inside trying to come up to the surface to try to whatever they want to do, whether they're gonna help or say fuck you, I'm out of here, or like whatever they're gonna do. I try to really ground and not switch, and try to finish the argument / conversation first before they switch or whatever. That's not always possible, but it also takes a bit of control on our part to try not to put him in that position where it's like him and I get in a fight, and then all of a sudden Mia's out, and Mia's like, I didn't do it, don't yell at me, kind of thing. So we try not to do that. Yeah. So, but it's not always, triggers are triggers, and if somebody starts yelling at me, protectors are going to come out, and there's no warning. It's just going to be snapped. It's going to be done.
Yeah, you just got to be in control of yourself, and you got to understand. And the biggest thing is recognize that each personality is its own person. That is the biggest thing. You cannot treat these people as the same person, because that's just unfair. That's the biggest thing you got to get in your head straight before you even think about any kind of serious commitment, is you have to make sure that each one individual.
Yeah. So, and on the opposite end, is there any advice you would have for multiples that are looking to date?
Oh. Yes, be honest about your situation. Be honest. To you, switching may be very fluid, but it can be jarring to another person. So I used to joke with you, like, how you got to wear name tags. But try to work in and get into a rhythm of letting the person know who they're talking to. Yeah. Before you even start, be like, by the way, this is Mia. I would like to, and then that way they can get into a mindset, and then they can get to know, because they don't know all the personalities like you do. They have to, and it's tough work, because they have to get to know several different people, and in one body. And it's like, okay, you're new. What do you like? What's your age and your gender and stuff like that? Or if you're an animal or a human, or do you like to talk? And our cat is going crazy outside the door. But sorry. But you just have to you be honest and upfront to things that you may take for granted because you're so used to for living with this condition for a long time. You have to recognize that some people aren't used to it. They're not used to the switching. They're not used to the different personalities. So they look the likes and dislikes. You have to you'll have to coach them and help them for your first month or so. But once they start getting used to it, you can tone it down. Like I do with you, I can pretty much tell who's out by tone of voice, what you're wearing, what you look like, even how you're sitting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do we have different ways that we sit?
Sometimes, yeah. The girls kind of, and the guys
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
really?
yeah. Like right now, you're slouching.
Wow.
And then and then the girls are more like, just different, like little things. But we've been together 10 years. I recognize.
Yeah, true. I had no idea we had. I know we have different ways that we talk, different ways that we walk, different things that we like to do, different, like tea versus coffee, or fruit candy versus chocolate candy, or whatever. But that's the first time I heard that we have different ways that we sit. Like that. That's interesting. Okay. I love you, babe.
I love you too.
Okay, so the next question is from Multiplicity and Me. Hello, Multiplicity and Me.
Hello, Multiplicity and Me.
So, all right, and their question is, what do you do if your partner is in crisis? Like your partner, the system, is in crisis.
The biggest thing is to remain calm. Most people feed off of agitation. If they're agitated or panicking and you start to panic, they will feed off that. So you need to give them a baseline. Sometimes you need to calm them down and let them know, relax, take a breath, tap.
A lot of people may not know about it. By the way, it's something that my therapist taught with dealing with anxiety, is that if you put each hand on a knee, and then you tap, like just right, left, and then do it like 50, 60 times or whatever. And then after that, take in 3 deep breaths, like all the way into the belly, like you blow up your belly like a balloon. So take 3 deep breaths. And then that does help, and sometimes like I'll do that like 2 or 3 times to really bring myself back down level-headed. So FYI, that's a coping skill out there. That's what he means by the tap tap tap. So sometimes he'll remind me to do the tapping.
Gotta remain calm, and by all means, offer solutions, but do not try to solve the problem for them, because it's something that they have to recognize. You can offer solutions, and if they take it, great. If not, you have to have more, you got to be a voice of reason and kind of a stable baseline for them.
And depending on who's out, some of them won't take advice. Like, you'd be like, just breathe, and like, fuck you! Like, they just, they're, so they don't want the advice. So you just kind of, it is weird. But so there's other things like, just, sometimes he'll cuddle with us, sometimes he'll just talk it out. And again, it kind of depends on who is out with how he's gonna like be towards us, and what kind of comfort or what to do from there. Because like Mia being in crisis is going to be a lot different than dealing with me in crisis. And granted, if one of us is in crisis, then most likely there's a few people in our system. It's safe to say that our system is in crisis if one of us is in crisis, because it's most likely affecting other people in the system.
Mostly, I get them to tell me what the problem is, and then I repeat the problem back to them to make sure I understand it. Because if you're solving a problem that is not the problem, that's a problem. That's problems.
Problems.
But, problems. But so you need to kind of just be patient, be calm, listen to them, and help them out. And again, it's kind of like back to the other question. You have to know who you're talking to. If you're talking to a guy, the solutions are going to be a little different. Go punch something, or that's not the solution. That's just an example.
Well, if you have something safe to punch, like a punching bag or a pillow or your mattress, or don't go hitting people now. That's
no cell phone throwing. All right?
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't damage anything. That's not a good idea.
But just remain calm and help them out as best you can. And sometimes they need to just work through it themselves. Like, you may have every solution in the world. Sometimes you have to go, I'm here for you, whatever you need. I'm sorry you're having a problem. But I can't help you. You need to work through it. It's a mental thing. It's just like, I have problems that I get upset. Somebody cuts me off on the road. I'm not going to go to her and complain about it.
But it sucks right now.
I'm oversimplifying a lot of things.
Yeah, that's
I don't
true.
mean to.
Alrighty, so are we ready for the next?
I'm
Okay.
ready.
So the next question comes from Dark. Hello, Dark. Nice to see you. And his question is, knowing that you are, I can't even read my own writing. Knowing that you are heterosexual.
Oh, okay.
How do you deal with the others dressing, acting, and presenting as male? So basically, my transitioning.
To me, it doesn't bother me. I fell in love with her, and to her, the body is always going to be female to me. It doesn't matter if you get your hair cut short or not. You don't wear makeup. You do wear makeup. That doesn't really bother me much. It's different when, it is like kind of weird, like we go out and, wearing guy clothes as opposed to girl clothes and stuff like that. But that's just kind of like based on a mood to me. It's like sometimes I wear nice shirts, sometimes I wear just t-shirts, and, so that doesn't bother me per se. And plus understanding that if it's a guy out, a guy does not want to walk around in a dress. It's embarrassing to them. A girl does not want to wear guy jeans that don't show off their body, so, you just kind of have to accept that on who you're going out with, it's not a very big deal, but good question though. Thank you, Dark.
And Fate has a couple questions for you,
Okay.
so there's a few of them. Alright, so hello, Fate.
Hey,
Fate.
Fate, sorry.
How do you know your partner is switching?
Mannerisms. It's almost like looking at a completely different person.
Yeah.
It's very simple. Once you get the hang of it, it's like, best way I can tell is if you're with somebody, can you tell when they're happy and when they're sad? It's kind of the same thing. You don't really.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah,
That's a really
somebody's
good way to
happy,
put
they carry themselves differently. If they are sad, they carry themselves differently. It happens in a breath. So it's not like, you know, but it happens so quick that it sometimes slips me. I could not sit there and call out how many times she switches in front of me. But I do pick up on some the major ones.
Yeah.
So, you know, when it comes out. So, but I mean, there's sometimes where you go bing, bing, bing. And then.
When we're a revolving door, as I call it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And her next question is, have you ever been faked out?
That would be more of a question for you, because I wouldn't know, because I don't think she's never really tried to do that to me, because there's really no reason to be faked out. But I wouldn't know. I don't think
I think that's faked out.
Yeah, I have in the beginning. I have been kind of tricked between girls and girls, or guys and guys, like Dax and Dex, or you know, Mia and, you know, like Diva, or, you know. But some of them, like, you know, the ones with like have an English accent are very distinctive. You know,
River,
it's like you
River
don't get faked out.
Yeah, I don't think my YouTubers have met River yet, but we do have one. Her name's River. She has an English accent. We're hoping she'll do a video eventually, but she's very, very shy. She's like, no.
Comment if you want her to do a video.
Yes. So let's encourage River to do a video.
Yes, ask her to come out, please.
And then I think the next question is for me. Has any of us ever been misleading about who is out? No. There's times when I can't tell you who is out because we don't know. Like, there's so many people up the front, and if we're disassociating, like, I know it's weird to say, but like, I don't, you know, sometimes I don't even know who is out or what exactly is going on. I can just tell that, you know, I'm dissociating. I can't tell you even who it is. You know, I might try to like see who I can feel around me, and, you know, in the head, feel who's around me. And sometimes I can feel certain presences, but sometimes like I can tell there's definitely certain people, like maybe Andy and Ash or Des or something like that. But then I know that there's more people than that, but I don't know who. I can't tell you really who is there. And I don't know which one of us. It could be one of the people I do know that is there, one of the people I don't know that is there. That could be going in and out of the body with me. So there might be times when like I don't know who is out, but I just say that. I just say, you know, like he might ask, is this Dax or something like that? I'm like, I don't even know. It maybe, I don't.
Yeah, when there's more than one up front, it does get hard for her to distinguish who's who. She knows who the main one is talking.
Especially if we're like stressed out or upset, you know, that's when it gets really bad.
But when you're stressed out and upset, it doesn't matter who's out. There's a problem that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Is it important for everyone in the system to like you?
No, not at all. I understand and respect it, as long as they can respect the fact that like they will not try to sabotage what I have with the others. That's basically it. Like, it's like, you know, if somebody doesn't like me, that's fine. They can come out when I'm not around, or they can come out when I'm around. I'm just like anybody else. If I feel attacked, I will bite back. So, you know, if somebody does, but I don't think anybody really doesn't like me. I mean, there's probably a few that could care less, which is fine. I respect that completely. You know, there are times where, like, when I first met her, I forget who it was, came out as a protector, and I didn't notice, and I put my hand on her knee, and she just kind of took my hand off and put it back on my knee, and I was like, okay, you know, I mean, just have to accept it. But I don't think any other really doesn't like me, but it doesn't matter. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't.
The only person I can think that would have been was Demian.
Probably, I think that was it.
So was it Demian?
Yeah, I think it was when we were driving that one day.
That makes sense. Yeah, I was just going to say, Demian comes out for two reasons. Either to physically fight or to get the hell out of there, and he's one hell of a driver.
Yeah, that's why he was out. We weren't fighting.
We were driving.
Yeah,
we were driving, getting out of a bad situation, apparently, together.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's see. Has there ever been someone in the system that doesn't like you, and if so, how did you deal with that?
Somewhere indifferent to me. It's kind of like when you meet somebody who doesn't like you. You know, you either try to, you know, to prove to them that they're wrong about you and you want to be a friend to them, or you just kind of, you know, hey, I'm sorry you don't like me, but, you know, stay away or deal with it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I deal with that one. Sorry, that was such a short answer.
Well, it's kind of
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. So bam, right back at you.
All right. Next question. We have, let's see, the first one, well, it's from Kitty. Hello, Kitty.
Hi, Kitty.
And the first one's for you. What was it like after you found out we were multiple?
Well, I did take a step back mentally. But
It's a lot to process.
yeah, it took about a day for me to think about, but I realized that the main personality out was somebody that I enjoyed being around, was nice, and that I cared deeply for. So I was willing to give it a shot.
Yeah.
It was
Thank
a little,
God.
yeah, it was a little jarring at first. I mean, I will not lie. I mean, you know, it's like, but
It's a little unnerving to see this person that you're getting to know, and then all of a sudden they just
yeah,
switch right in front of you into a completely different person. And like you said, it is the same body, but you're talking to a different person, and it is a bit, I mean, yeah, it is a bit unnerving to those, like, it's not unnerving for me being a multiple talking to another multiple, because I totally get it. I'm like, hey, what's up, you know? It's but for a lot of people that are not multiple, it is their first time seeing that switch or talking to a different person than whoever they're used to knowing. It can be a little bit jarring and take them back a little bit, be like, whoa, okay, and once they realize, like, okay, all right,
yeah.
this person's cool too, I'm okay, they're okay,
Yeah. That's how it was. It wasn't really a major setback or anything. It was like, okay, I'm gonna do a little research on it, because I had brushed up a little bit, but
yeah.
you'd be surprised what the brain can accept as normal. Because after a while, like, I mean, this relationship, to some people, like, they'd be like, oh, you're dating multiple personalities. That's got to be weird. Be like, no, it's normal. It's just like any other normal relationship.
This is one of the reasons why I love him. He makes everything. He makes me feel normal. Like that. It's you're like eating cake every day,
Yeah.
and this is normal.
Yeah, it's like what I said to the question. You have to be fluid and cool with your emotions. You have to like yourself to deal with somebody else. And that's in any relationship, not just this,
Yeah, it's true.
Good question, Kitty. Thank you.
And her second question for you is, are there some you connect with more than others?
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. Diva I connected with majorly. Me and Dax get along well.
Buddies?
Yeah, buddies.
Good buddies?
Yeah, she can be a little bit of an a-hole.
A Daxhole?
Yeah, Daxhole. A big Daxhole. But
I can be a little abrasive sometimes.
But she's more the yin to my yang, because I'm a more very positive person, so she's a more negative person.
I'm realistic.
Yes.
Like,
negatively realistic.
oh,
But
whatever.
there are times where it switches. Like, I'll have days where I'm negative and I'm like hating the world and I can't stand it, and she'll come in, or he, doesn't matter, mostly him, come in and be like, well, positive, 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 and I'm like, where the hell does that come from? So we yin yang each other out. There are some in there. Ash I get along with well. Mia I adore.
I don't know anybody who doesn't get along with Ash.
Well, he's a socialite, so
I don't know if I'd call him a socialite, because he's not very social, but he is very. He's just so easy and laid back to get along with. Like, I know you guys don't know Ash, because Ash is very. I've been trying to get Ash to do a YouTube video, and he just.
he doesn't care.
No, and actually he kind of cares too much the opposite way.
Yeah. But that's okay.
Yeah. So we're working with Ash's comfort on doing YouTube videos. Put it that way. Ash is really. He can be a very social person, and he's very relaxed and easy to get along with. I hope one day you guys will have the pleasure of meeting Ash. He's the closest thing that I know to a father, in our system, and he's awesome. I love him.
Maybe we have a social drinking YouTube channel hour. And
yeah, Ash is our lush. She's the
he
drinker.
Loves to drink. Yeah.
Yeah, if there is alcohol around, forget it. Ash is out.
Yeah.
So that's the best way to get Ash's attention, is put alcohol in front of us, and he's definitely out. And the next question from Kitty is for, it says for B and the system. How was it letting someone in? How was it, or, okay, well, there's a few questions, I guess, for me. How was it letting someone in? It's, you know, being a multiple, he's not the first person who I let in that way. There have been a few other friends, and I have an ex-husband, and he kind of got to know us too. It's nerve-wracking at first, because you never know how that other person's gonna react. You just never know. They could be like, oh my god, so you're psycho, and then turn around and leave, and never look back. And then there's other people who are like, hey, that's cool, and then, but you never hear from them again, even though they claim to have no problem with it. And then other people, they're almost too interested, like, they're like, oh, I want to know everything, and what about this, what about that, what about this? And they're almost like too, like, whoa, you know, like, you're kind of like, whoa.
Smothered with it.
You know,
like,
yeah.
Let's talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
And you don't want to talk about it all
like,
the time.
Can we talk about the weather, or, you know, something else besides the D.I.D. once in a while?
Right.
You know, so there's been some people that are like, whoa, like, they want in, and I'm like pushing back, going, you stay over there. So it's, first I kind of have to gauge, like, if that is a safe person to really, you know, let them into our life like that, into our system, and to kind of, like he has.
I could tell she was really scared to tell me. You were really scared to tell me. I could tell you were like, you looked like you were gonna, like.
Well, it was Diva, but yeah, she was terrified.
Yeah, she looked like, I mean, oh God, like it looked like she was getting ready to tell her father she crashed the car. You know, it's like, it's like, yeah. I mean, but I didn't mind.
Well, Diva was, I mean, because you guys met and have been hanging out pretty much nonstop for almost a week, for a couple hours a day at least, you know, sometimes staying the night with each other and stuff like that. So you guys were, him and Diva were investing a lot of time together, and then there came a point where she was like, okay, I really like this guy, and we're hanging out on a daily basis. And at that time, he didn't know, but we'd already switched on him a couple of times. He just he didn't have that information yet that we had done it. So when she came time, she was like, okay, I gotta tell him. I have to tell him. And she was scared to tell him, because she was scared that he'd have a bad reaction. You know, yeah, exactly, that he'd run away and do the whole, like, you know. So when you have invested emotions into somebody, it makes it a lot scarier to tell them, because you don't want them to run away, and at the same time you have to tell them, because if you don't tell them, then they might run away anyway, for like maybe lying, or eventually they're gonna see it and know. It's like, you can't be D.I.D. and not switch. You're gonna switch, and anybody who's gonna be around you for a minute, they're gonna see it, they're gonna notice.
Well, if they don't know about it, they're gonna notice it, but they're gonna notice it negatively. Because, like, when a girl's out and she's all happy and giddy, and I've seen this, and then a guy comes out, it's always the question to her is, "Are you okay? What's wrong? Why are you so sad?"
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's like,
Ash gets asked that question the most.
Yeah, because he's laid
like,
back, and they don't know that it's a different person. They're like, oh, it's the same person. Just, it's like, you know, if like you meet me one day and I'm like, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. Oh, sunny days, and then you see me the next one, it's like, yo, what up? You know, so different personality.
Yeah.
That you know, you're like, if you don't know it's a personality
it's like an
switch.
extreme mood change or
yeah,
something.
You're like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Right. So they're gonna know something is up. So it's better that they just know what is going on, so they don't get the wrong idea and think maybe something worse. You know, that you know, or something.
Schizophrenia or something worse. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's worse. I don't know. Like, I
wouldn't
hate
know
to
if
say
that's
any
worse,
conditions
but-
is worse or better. I think they're all like.
But you know, people associate things like that negatively, and then if
True.
you don't come out and tell somebody about it and tell them like you did, like, hey, if you have questions, ask, I'll answer them.
Yeah.
Then they think you're hiding for a reason, you know, and it's like,
Yeah.
what's the reason? Then that's kind of gets they laser focus on the reason and not the condition. So.
Right. Very true. And her next question is for. Oh wait, no. Let's see. Still for me. How was it different? Well, I didn't know it was any different letting him in and telling him at first in the very beginning, like 10 years ago. I didn't know that it was any different letting him in versus somebody else. It is different, like, telling somebody that you're going to be in a relationship with is a lot different than telling somebody who's a friend and a friend only. Telling somebody who's a friend, I have less fear, I guess, that they're going to turn around and run away or walk away. Like, that's easier for me to process and be like, okay, than getting involved with somebody and dating somebody and then them running off, you know, or whatever. I don't know that I could tell that there was anything different at first. It's
My
just
reaction was different. 'Cause
That's
she
true.
said- you know, she was like, "That's different. I never heard that one."
that
before."
was the first time I ever had that, when he was like, "Is that it?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What do you mean? Is that it?" like what?
What else could there be?
Oh my god. Like, okay, well, if that's not that big of an issue to you, cool. Like,
I was worried about nothing.
so yeah, exactly. And the next question for me from Kitty is, how do the others see Paul, our fiance? So how do the others see our fiance? We, again, kind of like just what he said, we all have our different relationship with him. Like, I'm fine with hugs and stuff like that, but I'm not a very cuddly person. Like, I'm not, unless I have a nightmare. If I have a nightmare, then I'm like, and I'm like clinging to him. I'm like,
all
don't
are
let
the
me
same
go.
with a nightmare, yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's, if I have a nightmare, then it's a totally different story. But other than that, like, I'm not a very, you know, like, if Diva was out, she'd be like, probably like, hello, and she'd probably be like all cuddled up against him like this entire time or something. Like, and probably Mia too. Like, Mia would probably be in his lap doing the interview or something. I don't know. So it's, we all love him. Like, we all love him. We all care about him. And even those that aren't really involved, like, have any kind of, you know, relationship or anything like that with him, regardless, they all respect the relationship we do have with him, even if they don't have one in particular. Like Demian, for example, Demian doesn't really have any friends. Like, he doesn't want them. You know, that's, and he'll probably never do a video. He's just not that.
No, a video with him would be this.
Like, yeah, staring very menacingly at you all.
Then you guys would be at home like,
What did I do?
click.
So yeah, he not like so even like Demian, like, he respects the relationship, but still being a protector, if anything was to happen where we would have to defend ourselves against him, Demian could do it. You know, like, Demian isn't gonna have those emotions, those feelings that are gonna get in the way of, like, having to do what we need to do to, and I don't think anything like that would ever happen, but at the same time, you know, he wouldn't have any qualm about it because he doesn't have those emotions or feelings or anything. There's a few other protectors that are that way too. They respect the relationship we have, but if anything was to turn sideways, they wouldn't think twice about turning against him if that needed to be done, but only in very, I mean, obviously we've been together for 10 years and it hasn't happened, so I don't think it's gonna happen, but
I'm not a very physical guy with women. If you're
Yeah.
a dude, not dude, but dude, like a real dude, watch out.
be careful with what you say, because there's a whole lot of people that might take offense to that.
Just kidding.
So it's, yeah, it's the whole Yeah, it's just a sensitive subject with trans people,
Hey,
of being quote unquote real.
Yeah, I understand, and I mean no offense to that, but it's like I said, I do not hit. I don't really hit anybody. I haven't really been in a fight.
There's a few
30
weeks
years.
ago. Well, no, not a physical
Like a
fight.
physical fight.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
verbal fights are fine. I'm good at those. Just ask her.
So yeah, like Mia, she just kind of has a real fun relationship. Like she likes to go to McDonald's and get Happy Meals and eat ice cream and watch
Yeah.
Disney movies or
Simplistic
whatever,
in nature,
you know.
yeah.
So it's like she kind of sees Paul as a kind of like I don't know if I should say a caretaker, sort of, you know, like a caretaker, but one she can also be romantic with if she wants to. So so sometimes she just wants that nurturing care, kind of like a daddy, and then other times she does want the romance and be like romantic and lovey. So he kind of just lets her decide how she wants to be with him. If she wants to be, you know, sexy and kissing and romantic, then that's what she does. If she just wants to cuddle and eat ice cream and watch Netflix, then that's what they do.
Yep.
Most of the guys, much as he said earlier, most of the guys just kind of see him like as a friend, like a good buddy. Like I love him. I'm not in love with you. No offense. I'm not in love with him, but I do love him. He's my partner. But yeah, I don't have that like in love, you know, like, you know, I don't have that kind of feeling. And most of the guys pretty much, as far as I know, they all feel that. I don't think any of them, most of them, well, just kind of see you as a good buddy, like how you love your friend, you know. But he's a little bit more than that, like life partners,
brother kind of deal. Sort of.
Yeah. So like life partners that are semi-romantic.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Like, let's see. The protectors, they do kind of see him as another person. You know, like the protectors do see him as a protector on the outside. Yeah. So they kind of see him as one of their own kind. They don't really come out to hang out. I think probably the only one.
No, they come out like if.
Well, nobody's come out to hang. Like the closest one that would have come out and hang out would pretty much be Des, and she's only been out a handful of times. Like, I could probably count on my one hand how many times Des has come out just to come out and hang out. Like usually, Des is another. She's a type of protector, but she's more of a verbal protector versus like physical protector. And a lot of times, Des coming out and verbally going off on somebody is often enough to deter them another direction, to get them to leave us alone, whatever it is that they're doing that they need to stop. So usually that's good. Yeah, there's never been, I think any time that she's really been out, it's just like,
Mostly to complain about somebody else.
yeah, if she is out and if she does talk to him, she just basically says, oh, you'll never guess what this dimwit over here did, and you know, she'll tell him about it. So he kind of has just a friendship buddy system with quite a few of us, more of a romantic.
I'm just whatever it needs to be, you know. That's, you know.
Yeah. So it's there's nobody in our system that I could say like that hates him or anything, because I have to say he is the first person out of anybody that we've ever been friends with or dated that literally nobody in my system had a problem with. Like literally nobody in my system has a problem with him at all. We've had a few arguments, like he said, but we don't have a problem, or else I don't think this would have lasted as long as it has for 10 years.
You gotta be willing to communicate.
So, yeah, that's true. Communication, guys, communication.
Honesty
Lots.
and communication, just talk about
Yes,
it.
yes,
99%
that
of
is
arguments
true.
are bullshit. Trust me.
Yep, that is very true.
All right.
And let's see, our last couple of questions comes from Lakeney. Hello, Lakeney.
What's up? I'm gonna
And
adjust real quick because
no problem.
butts hurt.
We're almost done.
No problem.
Lakeney says, are there any personalities that you don't get along with?
No. There are some that don't really, don't talk and stuff like that. But there's nobody like, if anybody came out and I'm like, oh, no, nobody like that. So
Yeah.
that's a pretty easy one.
And her second question is, what coping mechanisms do you and that personality use to cope with that situation? So maybe times when, like, I don't know, there has been a couple rough situations, like arguments and stuff, where it's not like they hate you or anything, but there has been, you have butted heads a few times with protectors. Like, you have gone toe-to-toe with a few protectors before.
Yeah, coping mechanisms. Time away from each other is probably one of the best things.
Taking timeouts, yeah.
Yeah, like not breaking up, but you go to your room, do your thing, drink your tea, whatever you need to do to relax your head.
And then you play video games.
I play my video games,
Yeah.
and I sit and watch stupid stuff on Netflix to make me laugh. Just
Or
something.
YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. No, I didn't mean Netflix. I meant YouTube. YouTube all the way. But yeah, I mean, and you just give yourself some time to cool off, because you can't heatedly argue. It's like I say, panic and panic feed off of each other. If you're yelling at each other, one person yells, the other's going to yell to be heard, and then that person's going to yell. You got to take time to cool off and relax. And like I said before, you have, like, being the one individual to the relationship with a multiple, you have to be in control of your emotions. You don't have to be completely in control of your emotions, but you can't just blow up, okay? You have to understand yourself and care about yourself enough that you can say, I need to remove myself from this situation. I will be back in an hour or 2 hours or a day, whatever it takes.
That communication alone, though, helps, because we do have abandonment issues, like abandonment problems, abandonment issues. And so that attitude, that take, like, okay, I'm gonna go in my room and play a game for like an hour or two, and then I will come check on you and see how you're doing. I'm like, fine. Kind of thing. Like, if we're arguing, I'm like, fine, I don't even care.
Yeah.
Whatever. But it is helpful in my head to know, like, if he walks out the door, I know he's gonna come back. Like, it's not this total breakdown of, oh my God, he just left me. It's like, no, he just went on a drive and he'll be back. Maybe he just had to go to the store and get cigarettes or something, or a drink.
She has been worried about that before, but it has never, ever, I've told her, I've told you, it is never an option to me in any fight that we have, any argument, no matter how bad it gets, and we've had a few stinkers, that it never becomes an option to me to leave. Like, you don't want to ultimatum a multiple, because they are multiple for a reason. There is trauma in there, and it involves something horrible, and you don't need to feed off that. You don't want to manipulate that, and you don't want to use that to your advantage. So she knows that, like, if we have a problem, I'm gonna be here. I may be mad. There's times we got mad at each other. We didn't talk for like a whole day. I went to work and came back, but sooner or later you will get back into that talk down. I mean, maybe you have to go talk to a friend and vent to them, and they say, well, you're just being stupid. And you're like, you're right, I am being stupid, and then it's like, or you get online and talk to somebody that helps you, It's
and same thing for the multiples too. So for the multiples out there, if you get into an argument with somebody you love or care about, regardless if it's it's your husband, wife, child, sister, brother, parent, that especially if it's somebody that you live with and you really care about, and you want to preserve that relationship that you have with them, then it's also really important to kind of try to get yourselves to calm down as well, and access your tools and your toolbox for your coping mechanisms, to get into a better headspace, better mind space, where whether it's you or another person in your system can come back and have a calm, collected, rational conversation. Of course, you kind of have to wait until all of the anxiety is kind of finished and has taken its course. So you have to, I'd recommend waiting until, like, if you are experiencing anxiety, like if you and your partner get in a fight, an argument, and I know our anxiety would skyrocket during those times. So we have to get ourselves back to not necessarily calm, but calmer, at least, because we're still going to be tense, because we don't know, like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Because I mean, he says these things all the time, but in our head, it's never a doubt in our head that he could leave any second. It's never, and that's the curse of having abandonment issues, because no matter how much he has said and proven to me that he's not going to go anywhere, it's still not a doubt in my head that, yeah, he could go somewhere if he wanted to. He does not have to stay here. He doesn't have to deal with us. He doesn't have to be with us if he didn't want to be. He could walk anytime. And so that is in my head, even though, you know, I trust what he says. I believe that what he says. It's not that. It's just, anyway, so you kind of got to get yourself in a calmer state and be able to talk to your partner or the person who you're having some tension with, and then just communicate as best as you can. I usually try to think about how would I like the situation to turn, and, you know, basically, like, do I want this to be over and done, or do I want to preserve this friendship, this relationship, whatever it may be, whether it's with him or another person, a friend, whoever. Is this something I want to preserve, or am I ready to just access out of my life? You know, just like big X and be gone, you know, be done with it in my life. So yeah, it's like I said, same thing for multiples. It's just kind of good advice to sort of, you know,
calm down, chill out.
Yep,
you
calm
know?
down, get the tension back down, and then come back together. And
if it's a real problem, if it's a real problem, it'll resurface. If it's not, it'll fizzle out into nothing. You know, and then that's how you recognize real problems. If something keeps coming up, that's a problem. If it's something that's like, oh, hey, you drank all the coffee, which I don't drink coffee, so I don't have that problem. But you know, it's like something stupid. You know, I mean, come on. Like, you're gonna end a very great relationship with a wonderful person over something stupid? No.
Yeah.
I can't think of it.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
Right. Well, thank you all for the questions.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you, YouTube.
Have a
so
good one.
I will see you guys next time. I am still working on a few other videos in the midst. I'm hoping to get some stuff together to do a internal worlds video. So look out for that, and we have a few other things. I don't necessarily want to give away all my secrets of what we do have planned, but that is one we have in the making. It has been a request, and I'm still working on it. I apologize it's taken so long for us to do a video about inner worlds, but it will happen. I swear it will. Yes, it is coming. It's in the making. It's coming. So a long time in the making, I know, but it is coming. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Love you.
Have a great day,
Bye-bye.
everybody.